Now we're recording. All right. Hello, for those of you who missed the first part. You didn't miss much. We're just talking about the fact that you need to take a lot of notes, and thank you for that, Jen. So there we go. Are the slides? Can you download the slides now for note taking? Don't have them right now, but we'll get them to you. And if you have a question, put them in the box. You see that we're going to spend about 45 minutes with some high content, and something I want to tell you about at the end if you're inclined. The agenda for our call today is quite simple. I want to give you a little review on my marketing system. There's a lot of folks that are new to me on this call, and so those of you who aren't new to my system, probably wouldn't hurt to hear some of this as well. And then you're going to see the context of all the things that I fit in, how it all fits in with what we're doing. Then, of course, we'll get to the main topic, which is talking about your value during social events, upcoming holidays, and beyond. There's a lot of opportunity usually this time of year to see family and friends and even strangers in a social environment. And so we're going to give you some language there. I'm going to show you a quick tool that we've developed for you. And then we're going to get back to it, how to talk to friends about meeting for business. You probably have some folks you've known for a long time. You know they could be a good prospect for your business, good client, and how do you talk to them about it? Maybe you've been a member of your club for 8 years, and how do you approach those folks about doing business? Do you approach those folks? And the answer is yes, you can, and obviously you have to be pretty careful about that. So, well, why referrals? All right, you know why referrals. You know why you follow Bill Gates at referralcoach.com, because referrals are all about borrowed trust, right? We borrow the trust in one relationship long enough to earn our own trust in the new relationship, and everything gets a little bit easier, smoother. People are more likely to take our call. They're more likely to follow our recommendations. We know that clients who come in through referrals stay with us longer. We also know that clients who come to us through referrals are 2.5 times more likely to give referrals. And of course, what happens is momentum, and we create momentum that really takes on a life of its own. And not just referrals, but introductions, right? These days, we got to get connected. We got to get introduced. So if you're at a social event and someone says, yeah, you should probably talk to my friend, my neighbor, my cousin, whatever, you got to make sure you get a connection, right? It doesn't count for them to say, yeah, I'll tell them that you'll call, or I'll talk to her and see if she's open to it. Well, they may want to talk to that person, and I get that, and that's okay. But ultimately, we got to get a connection, or it doesn't really count. In fact, what I've been saying lately is referrals are worthless unless we get introduced. And we'll be doing some webinars about getting introduced in the new year. Please pass this around. Maybe you're stuck in this already. Cold calls are God's punishment for failure to get enough referrals. I probably should say to some of you, getting leads, weak leads, poor leads, expensive leads that go nowhere, also a part of your punishment for failure to get enough referrals. And some of you probably feel like this from time to time. People say that there's no out-of-pocket cost to cold calling. Well, maybe not, except for the missed opportunity and the damage to your psyche, right? So you see, I like to have a little fun with this, and we're going to have fun today. So my system really is based on 3 words, and they are engagement, leverage, and connection. We have to become referable through the engagement that we create. We have to leverage that. We have to be appropriately proactive. And then, like I said before, we have to get connected. We have to create the introduction. So there are 3 basic places for engagement throughout the life of our client relationships. There's the initial process. I call it prospect engagement. Some people call it the sales process, but we want to make sure we become referable quickly in the new relationship, and it's through the process of how we do business with them. And then, of course, we want to have an onboarding process, some sort of a way to welcome them into the family, so to speak, walk them down a metaphorical red carpet through our onboarding process, and then have a client service promise in place. So we're staying in touch with people on a regular basis. We're providing value, ongoing, and we're also connecting with the business friendship. And we know the business friendship is really the turbocharger to getting more referrals and introductions. And of course, we want to leverage. And we leverage by promoting referrals. We leverage by asking in a way that isn't begging and pushing. I'm going to tell you about a report that I've written that you can get your hands on a little bit later today around asking without pushing and begging. And then social event marketing, how to create social events. And I'm going to touch on this because sometimes that's a great way to bring friends or colleagues or acquaintances into the fold who maybe you've been reluctant to talk to in the past about doing business. And then the connection. A lot of ways to get connected. Obviously, the traditional introduction where we get that email handshake provided, which is great. In-person introductions is the best if it fits your business. We have a lot of different folks on this call. We have financial advisors, insurance agents, business coaches, all kinds of folks, but all similar in the sense that you're service-oriented, you're selling kind of an intangible, if you will. Then, of course, you got to set the appointment and you got to acquire a new client. That's your new prospect, your new engagement process. And when you do that, when you create, when you get the appointment and you get introduced, and then you create that sense of engagement with that new prospect, what happens? Well, it just keeps going, and you really can create an unlimited flow of high-quality clients through referrals, through mostly introductions into your business, and everything gets easier and easier and easier over time. So if you like the slides, take it, no, not that kind of photo. Take a photo of the slide, but actually I got a better idea. Why don't I just send you the slides? Would you like that? I know you would. So after we're done, I'll send you a link to the recording. I'll send you a link to the slides, and I'll send you a few other things that you probably don't want. No, I'm just teasing, that I think you'll find very valuable. So what is the absolute single most important thing that we need to do to get more referrals and get introductions from friends, family, clients, centers of influence, whether we ask or not, right? There's one key ingredient that we've got to make sure we have in place, and that is we got to be referable, right? Oop, wrong button, right? You got to be referable. If we're not referable, then nothing happens in this regard. I had a guy come up to me after a live seminar, and he says, you know, Bill, I've been in this business for a long time, 20 years or so, and I don't get many unsolicited referrals. And, you know, I had to catch a flight. I didn't have time for the therapy that would ensue to educate him as to why he wasn't as referable as he thought he was, right? So we have to become referable. In fact, I like to say you want to become super referable, especially if you want to get referrals without asking, right? You have to become super referable, and that's in all how you serve people. It's through your client service model, your initial process, how you help people go, wow, more than I expected, right? How do you know you're referable? How do you know your initial process is referable? How do you know you're referable throughout the lifetime of a client relationship? How do you know you're referable in the eyes of your friends or your family or other centers of influence, CPAs, attorneys, other business consultants? How do you know? Well, you're getting referrals without asking for them, right? That is our barometer. We all should be getting referrals without asking for them. We all have to become super referable. And how you talk about your value, how you talk about what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, all of those elements we're going to get into a little bit today will help your people talk about you that way as well, right? How you talk about your value will inform. It may not totally dictate how someone talks about you because their experience of your value may be a little different than what you think you're providing, but nonetheless, how you talk about it does make a big difference. And so I call this crafting a compelling value proposition. And look, I used to call it an authentic value proposition, and some people call it an irresistible value proposition. And I like that. I think it's great to have an irresistible value proposition. Some people like to have a unique selling proposition, a unique value proposition. Well, I'm going to talk to you in a minute while being unique and that differentiation, while it is an element, it can be a little bit overrated. And some people talk about that like it's the holy grail of how you talk about your value, and the truth is it really isn't. There's some other things that are more important than that, actually. But when you're reaching out to new prospects, you're at networking events, social gatherings, which is a key element of this webinar, social gathering, community projects, how you talk about on your website and your LinkedIn profile and other social media profiles, and when you send an email or even a text, if some of you can't text prospects, that some of you can. All right, so how you talk about it has to be compelling. Why compelling? Because the whole point of talking about your value is to move people to action, right? It's to get them to act. It's to get them to respond to your email, to respond to your voicemail, to introduce you to someone else, whatever that is. And so if you're leaving voice messages or sending emails or talking to people and it's not creating action, whatever action it is you want, then your proposition is not compelling enough, right? You're not creating enough compelling value. And so actually the blog post that I just sent out today is all about this. So if you get my blog, if you get my referral minute, then you'll see it relates to having this compelling value proposition. So what are the elements of your compelling value proposition? I see some questions are coming in. We'll get to that in just a second. So first of all, your what, what do you do? And then your how do you do it? These are all pretty standard stuff. People have been teaching this for years. Who do you serve? My mentor on this, by the way, is Leo Pusateri. So financial professionals on the call. If you go to pusateri-consulting.com, Leo is the master at this, and I've learned a lot from Leo. Now, differentiation, it's good to be differentiated, especially in the eyes of centers of influence like CPAs and attorneys and other consultants, because these people really do need to know what makes you different than other people they may be sending their clients to. But when it comes to sitting down with a client, while maybe they want to know what makes you a little different if they're interviewing other people and they're a little confused, but really what they really want is they want to connect with you and who you are, and that happens a lot through your why. And then they want to know why you're a great fit, right? Why are you the right fit? And it's not coming up. What happened to it? There it is. Anyway, so why are you the right fit, right? My screen is, my photo or picture video is blocking the screen, so forgive me. I'm learning how to use the webcam. This is the first time I've done it with a webinar, so I hope you don't mind. So anyway, we've got to address all of these things, and then there are elements of our compelling value proposition that we want to try to make sure we touch on as best we can. Now, you're not going to touch on all 5 of these in one sentence or 2 sentences, but throughout how you talk about your value in person or through an email or your website or a LinkedIn profile, you want to make sure you attend to these things. So here's what they are. So first of all, you got to be clear and concise. Sometimes we use jargon. We're not as clear as we need to be. You got to always be asking yourself, so what does that mean? Show it to people who don't have your context. We have a new person on our team, or fairly new, and when she came on, she didn't have much context in our business, and that was invaluable because she saw things from a different way, the way probably our prospects and clients saw things, like, what are you talking about, Bill? So making sure that we're not using jargon. Conversational, right? We're talking to people, even if we're writing. We're not writing an English paper for our teacher, right? We want to talk conversational. And you're going to see as I give you some of the scripting and word tracks here today how conversational these things need to be. We always want to think in terms of client benefit, how we talk about what we do in terms of the benefits, and then we want to make sure we convey emotion. We know that people make a buying decision, a decision to work with us, a decision to refer us to others. It's emotional based. Now, I'm not saying the intellectual part of it isn't important. Of course it is. But ultimately, can I trust him? Can I trust her? Do I trust them? That's ultimately what it is. And so for those of you involved with financial planning and insurance and with money on this call, then the emotion is usually right there, because there's always emotion when it comes to money and legacy and things like that. And then we want to make sure we have some examples to cite. Citing examples, and especially you're going to see this in social events, is very important. So if you don't have some examples, make sure you start to collect them. Now, these aren't long stories. These are quick anecdotes. Don't take much time. You don't want to be going on and start getting the eye roll of people. If you're telling a story and people are starting to look around the room a little bit, maybe for someone else they know, then now you got to read those signs. But if you're telling something fascinating and something pertinent and it's quick, and may even have some humor or something compelling in it with some emotion, now you got a good example. All right. So one of the most important things is your why. Why you do what you do, why you got started in this business, why you're still in this business. Your why is one of the I call it the secret weapon of really what distinguishes you in the marketplace, because only you have your why. Only you have your why. You're on a mission to do this. And look, you've got to be in touch with the value that you bring. That's where all this referral stuff comes from anyway. And that's how we can talk about what we do in a compelling, authentic, confident way without coming on too strong. There's a fine line between being confident and compelling and pushy, and we don't want to be pushy, but we do want to be confident and compelling. And your why, talking about why you got started in this business, how you see you help people that that have incomplete plans, right? You fill the gap between where they are and where they want to be, and you love closing their gap. But that why is what will make a difference. And you'll see as we talk about the social encounters how this can make a difference. So you want to make sure you always tap into your personal why. Now, usually people won't ask you why. Why do you do this? How did you get started in this business? Why are you with that firm? Why did you go out on your own? Occasionally that'll happen, but a lot of times people won't. So you want to bring it up. You want to make sure you introduce it into the conversation. I'll show you a little bit how to do that today. So as we get into the topic at hand, I just wanted to give you some context so you can see where all this is coming from, and it'll make a lot more sense. This person says, I'm only seeing you on the video. I assume I would have gotten other folks telling me that if that were the case. Hopefully you can see the slides now. One person has asked, Jason, how do we sign up for the newsletter, the blog? Just go to referralminute.com, referralminute.com. All right, so I hope you're seeing my slides. Jennifer, if you're not seeing my slides, you buzz me now. Okay. Yeah, this person says seeing you on the slides. I see you just fine. All right. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Slides are good. Some people are not seeing them. Well, we're showing the slides. Just give me a second, guys. I just want to make sure everything's set up properly. Slides are showing. Video, audio. Yeah, it's looking right. I hope you guys got it. You can call my office, by the way, if you're having trouble. 301-497-2200, 301-497-2200. Operators are standing by. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, a lot of times when you're at Thanksgiving, you're at a holiday event, whatever it may be, people will say, what do you do? Or what is it that you do again? Are you still doing what you did, right? And so we want to make sure that we have an answer for that. Now, let me share with you the mistakes that people make, and then I'll share with you what I think you might do a little bit differently. So mistake number one is reverting to your elevator pitch. What I mean by, look, we all need to have a succinct, clear way to talk about our value, right? I'm big in that. We've got to have a clear, succinct, compelling, emotional, client benefit way of talking about what we do. But I think you know what I'm talking about. How you talk about your value at a business event, a networking event, you're standing in front of your BNI group or something like that, how you talk about what you do is a little different than if you're in a social setting. And here's what some people do. They get into their thing that they rehearsed 100 times. Well, I'm a financial advisor. I work with individuals and couples who want to maximize their investments and minimize their financial risk to be able to retire with confidence that they won't run out of money. You and I should talk about this. Oh, yeah, right. I think I'll get some more chips. It's like, no, we can't do that, right? I think you know that. That's a thumbs down on that one. The other mistake, or another mistake people make, is turning shy or overly modest. I know I've fallen into this trap before, and I suspect you have as well, right? Sometimes we fall into that trap of not wanting to come on strong, not wanting to, talk business when we're in a social setting, and so we miss opportunity because of that. And when we miss opportunity, we miss opportunity. So here's what people quite often say is, let me get the switcher working there. I work in finance. Could you pass the potatoes? Or I'm a consultant. Who wants more wine? Or, I'm a business coach. Did you see the game last night? And I got to say, go Cubbies. Not to insult anybody who's from Cleveland. Cleveland had a great run too, but it is pretty cool. So anyway, this is what happens, right? We kind of get modest and shy and change the subject, even though in most cases you're not shy at all. So we got to give this one a thumbs down as well. So sometimes, how's business, right? How's business? If they know what you do, right? Mistake is, again, reverting to your elevator pitch. Well, business is fantastic. I'm doing great with my clients, and you and I should have a conversation about that. Do you keep your schedule on your phone, right? Too far, too fast, too much in a social setting. All right, thumbs down on that one. And then, of course, turning shy or overly modest. So, how's business? Oh, business is good. Thanks for asking. Do you mind if I change the channel to catch the game, right? Again, kind of changing the subject. And you know what I'm talking. You've fallen into this, right? So a thumbs down on that one. So you're thinking, all right, what do you suggest, Mr. Know-It-All, right? Mr. Smarty Pants. And before I get that, let me do it. You mentioned how to make impression at a golf club where you've been known for years, but I'm now changing professions. and I'm trying to make a mark as a financial advisor, yeah, and trying to reposition myself in their eyes. We'll talk about that, but here's the challenge that you have is when you're new in the business, really any business, is that you lack confidence and credibility, right? People knew you as whatever it is you did, teacher, minister, truck driver, banker, whatever. They knew you in one way, and now you're doing this other thing. So it usually takes time for that credibility to come across, and we have to be very careful. Now, some people help you out right away because they like you, they trust you, they know. So a friend of mine was in the mortgage business, and the mortgage business took a huge hit a few years ago, and he finally became a financial advisor. Now, when he went back to his mortgage clients, they were fine. He already knew their numbers, and they knew he was smart, and he didn't have that credibility problem, or at least not as much as some people do. So can you swipe to toggle on your phone, by the way? You taking, I'm not sure I understand that question, sorry. I can see the slides, good, good. Had to log in and log out again to see the slides. I'm sorry about that, I'm not sure what that was about. How do you coach your customer or client to share your value proposition? That's a good question. We will get to that in a minute. Let's just keep going. All right, guys. So here's the way when you're at social events and social environment, the key is to lighten up, right? The key is to, create curiosity. You want to be confident, you want to be appropriately professional, but you're in a social environment, so you can't just come down with your elevator pitch that you rehearsed 100 times, and you also don't want to err on the other side and just be too modest or overly shy. So option number one. Option number one is to talk about your why. Remember, I talked about that at the very beginning. This is one of the most compelling things that you have going for you, and this is what makes you real. And when you talk about your why, sometimes you can connect about your value and who you are at the same time. So let me give you an example. Carol Upshur is a financial professional on the West Coast. Before she got into this business, she and her husband got some bad advice. They lost some money. They were in tough times for a little while, but they slowly got back on their feet. She became a financial professional, and now when she's with prospects and other events and other situations, she says, that's a little bit of what I do. Let me tell you why I do what I do. And then she talks a little bit about that story, and then she says, my goal, my job is with my clients is to make sure that or anything like that never happens to them. And she's getting unsolicited referrals. She's getting referrals from prospects, from clients, from centers of influence just by talking about her why. Now, there's different ways to talk about your why, and I'm going to give you different verbiage. And you're going to have to find what works for you, of course, but I'm going to get the creative juices flowing hopefully for you. So I'm a blank. I'm a financial advisor. I'm an insurance agent. I'm a business consultant. I'm a executive coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a whatever, right? I'm a referral coach. I'm more excited now about the work I do than ever before. What's that going to do? It's going to create curiosity, especially with someone who knows you. Your cousin says to you, so, how's business, or what are you doing? What are you doing again? Well, I'm a business coach, and you know what? I am more excited about the work I'm doing now than ever before. And I go, oh, tell me why, right? That's a tell me why, tell me more kind of statement. I'm a business consultant. I'm a financial advisor, and I have to tell you, this is a great time to be doing the work that I do. Oh, that's good for you. Why is that? Well, there are so many people who are moving into retirement, they're getting close to retirement, and they're clueless. They think they have enough money, they've gotten bad advice, incomplete advice, and they're just not prepared. And so I'm doing really good work for folks. I'm really helping them, and because of that, business is good, right? So talk about your why. Talk about why you're excited, why now is a great time to do what we do, et cetera, et cetera. And this will create curiosity and just good conversation, right? Something, if you tell people, I sell life insurance, they're going to go up and get, more pumpkin pie. But if you say, well, I sell life insurance, and I got to tell you, this is one of the best times to be in this business. I'm really excited about what I'm doing. They lean into you when you do that, right? At least most people do. All right, you can tell a story, right? Sometimes these go together. I think you can see that, right? I'm a financial professional, and can I tell you a quick story? Something happened to me today, right? You're around the table, or you're just having a drink and some dip, and someone says, how's business, or what are you doing? And well, I think the best way is just for me to tell you something that happened today, and I think you'll get it all, right? Or can I give you a quick example? Sometimes it doesn't hurt to say, can I tell you a quick story, or may I give you a quick example? They're going to say yes, but rather than just launching in, when you soften it up a little bit, sometimes people appreciate that. You're not coming across too strong. So I think you can see that all of these, just in the manner in which you deliver these, really makes a big difference, right? How you say the words. And so option number 3 is have fun. Please have fun with this. You're at a social event. So find way, if you have a sense of humor. If you don't have a sense of humor, then don't try this. Don't try this at home. So you could say, well, I'm a business consultant, although sometimes I feel like I'm a therapist, or I'm a financial advisor, and sometimes I think I'm a therapist or couples counselor. And they go, oh yeah, tell me more. Why is that, right? And then you talk about how people are clueless. They don't know where they are. They don't know where their buckets of money are. They don't know where they want to go. They don't have a clear vision. Look, I protect people from all the financial fantasies shown on TV and the internet. Now, my friend Bill Backrack calls it financial pornography, but Jennifer and I had a conversation about this yesterday, and she wasn't sure I should use the word pornography. And look, the last thing I want to do is go there. But when I say the words financial pornography, you know what I'm talking about, right? Bill talks about Susie Orman and Money Magazine and all the different things out there where they're giving this generalized information, right? It's generalized information that really doesn't apply to that specific person. And you're fighting against that most of the time, right? Are you not? You're fighting against that most of the time. And so have fun with this, right? Sometimes I feel like a therapist, right? I feel that sometimes as a referral coach, right? Well, I help people build their business through referrals and personal introductions. And I'll tell you, sometimes in the coaching part of my business, I really feel like I'm doing therapy. And they go, oh, if I say that to another coach, they go, oh, tell me about it, right? And most people get that. So have fun with this, please. Now, I always talk to people about having fun, even having fun and asking for referrals, right? Art's a financial professional in Baltimore. When he's asking for referrals, introductions, he says, I'm looking for about 100 people. And they go, Art, 100 people? I don't even know 100 people. We only had 60 at our wedding. All right, too many. How about 4 or 5, right? Now, that's not so bad. He's having fun, right? Doug is a financial professional in Omaha. He says, we're just brainstorming here, using the word side that I teach. We're just brainstorming here. Do you know any lottery winners? And what happens? Laugh. No. And when you have fun with this, everything gets easier, right? If you can interject some fun, a fun story, anything around fun will make all of this go much easier. So let me look for some questions here. So how do we coach our customer to share our value proposition? Well, here's what we say. All right, so I'm going to answer this question now, sir. How do we talk to our clients or other people about a value proposition? Say, George, if you ever run into someone you think should know about the work I do, can I tell you what seems to work the best in terms of describing my value? Well, okay. Here's what works the best. That's the phrase that you heard me use. Here's what works the best, or here's what I found works the best. So you want to, getting more referrals from friends, acquaintances, centers of influence, clients, it really is an educational process. It's educating them on how you would receive the referral in the first place. Some of you have heard me teach that, and I'll teach that in subsequent webinars, right? How, George, if you ever identify someone you think should know about the work we do, let me tell you a little bit about what it will look like, how I would handle that so you'd feel comfortable teaching people that. It could be teaching them who you serve the best, how to recognize things that happen in people's lives or businesses related to the work you do, teaching your customers, your clients, anybody who's a referral source that, and then talking through that. You say, George, if a friend of yours walked in the office right now or walked in the restaurant and you were going to introduce me, what would you say? What would you say to her? And they'll say, well, I'll probably tell you, So, when my financial advisor, Larry, is retiring now, I used to introduce him as my financial advisor golf coach. And because that was fun, right? And they go, oh, and we talk about golf, we talk about finance. And then the guy's taken over my account from Larry, great guy, Aaron. He has a boat. And I say, well, Aaron's my financial advisor and captain of my ship. And of course, it's his boat, it's not mine, but nonetheless, it creates conversation. So, we teach people how to do this. All right, someone says, I like to say thanks for asking, but why don't you go and first and tell me, well, let me see if I can understand. I'd like to say thanks for asking, but why don't you go first and tell me what? Yeah, and then that's fine. Here's the problem with that. The potential problem with that, Scott, is that there's two problems I see with that. With saying thanks for asking, but why don't you go first? You may never get it in, especially at a social event, right, where it can be distracting, and even at a business event, networking event. That person, and they may go drone and drone and drone, and you may never get to say. So, it's kind of like if you play golf and someone says the putt's good, you pick it up. If somebody asks me what I do, I tell them what I do. I tell them a quick story. Now, I don't go on and on and on, and I do reverse it and ask them. That's very important. It's good conversation. It helps you see if maybe they might be a good prospect for the work you do. But I usually answer straight up. And then sometimes answering a question with a question, it feels a little fishy to some people sometimes. I could tell you about it, but why don't you go first? Well, I look, do what works for you, and as long as it produces the results you want, that's fine. But I personally, all right, somebody figured this one out. Okay. Hold on, guys. I wish the question thing was easier. All right, so how do you want to talk to friends about the work you do? Well, I'm going to talk to you about this, but first we got a word from our sponsor. So I'm going to take 2 to 3 minutes. This is why we can do this for free, right? Because we talk about a new tool, and so just hang with me for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'm going to talk to you about how you can talk to a friend or a family member or someone at the club about possibly sitting down with you and having a business conversation. Right? How do you bridge that gap? How do you take that leap without making feel? But first, the pop quiz, right? So remember I said to you, what is the single most important ingredient in getting referrals and introductions from friends, family, whether you ask or don't ask, right? Well, it's your referability, right? You've got to make sure you're referable. And the truth is you can become super referable. You can become so referable that you are getting referrals without asking for that. And if you do ask, well, you got people that are happy to do it. So I just want to take a minute to tell you about a new program we have. It's very inexpensive, and it's a video-based learning program, and it looks a little something like this. No one else has ever seen this. You are the first folks that I'm showing this to, and that's not just internet marketing hype. That is the truth. And so it's the 3 lessons. It's about how to become super referable quickly in your new relationships, right? We talked about that. How to become even more referable with your onboarding process. What does that look like? What can you add to yours? And then what does your client service model, your client service promise look like? So these videos are all in the 10 to 12 minute range. So it doesn't take a huge amount of time to go through these. And you can certainly share them with a colleague or with a friend or with an associate. And in addition to the video, you get the audio file that you can download, put it on your iPod, smartphone, whatever, and listen to it later when you're working out, driving. What most people do with the other programs we produce is they'll watch the video maybe once or twice, and then they just listen to it over and over again, maybe even before an appointment. You can get the transcripts, so you can, every word that I say is printed out. You can circle the word tracks, highlight the word tracks, and start to come up with the words that you want to use. And then a success guide for taking notes and as an ongoing resource. So it's a very robust tool. When you go to referralswithoutasking.com, and I'll give you that website in a second, this is what the page will look like, and then you'll kind of see that we talk about who gives referrals, why they don't, what you can do about it, how to win the new business and become referable at the same time, how to distinguish yourself in the marketplace, how to shield your clients against any competition out there, and then how to tap into the full lifetime value of your clients, which is the business you can do with them over a lifetime, and also who they can introduce you to over a lifetime. And a lot of people miss that part, all right? And so you'll scroll down the page a little bit. It comes with a bonus. We've got a report that that this course is about getting referrals without asking for them. And we have a report about how to ask without begging and pushing. So we'll give you some of that right away. You don't have to wait for that next course to be ready. And you're right, this is free, right? Just included with it, and it's only $97. It's kind of a no-brainer to become more referable without even asking, right? So if you go to Referrals Without Asking, go now if you want. Look, listen to what I have to say, and just go and look at it and sign up. And when you sign up, what's going to happen is you're going to go to the page to check out. It looks like this, and you're off and running. And at the end of this program, for those of you who want me to go in a little more depth, I will take you through that course a little bit more so you can really see a little behind the scenes look of it. But that was my 2-minute commercial, if you will. Let's see. From now on, you know, you can sit in your office and you can take phone calls from prospects, right? I wish my office looked like that, right? Don't you? Anyway, so this is a no-brainer, right? What does one new client bring to you? So much, and for $97, it's not a big deal. All right, so let's keep going. How do you talk to friends and acquaintances about business? How do you request a appointment, a business appointment? So you got to come from this place of believing in your value. You know that, and you want to make sure you communicate that in a way that feels okay to someone who's a friend or a family member or someone you met at the club or whatever. So here's one way to do it. You say, you know, George, I've been thinking about your situation lately. You know, I have clients who have experienced a similar challenge. We've never really sat down to talk business, but if you're open to it, I think I might be able to provide some ideas. No pressure to do business, just a little brainstorming. So coming from that place, you know, we've never talked business before. You can even say, you know, I didn't want to look like my membership in this group, or I don't want it to look like my membership in this group is about doing business with members, because it's not. It's to enjoy the group. And, you know, I've been able to help some folks, and I have a lot of clients that are, I believe, in a similar situation to yours, is from what I can tell anyway. How do you feel about having lunch sometime? I'll share with you some ideas, and, you know, no pressure to do business. I just want to share with you some things that are working, and just we'll do a little brainstorm and see what comes out of it. And that's it, right? So you're coming from a place of believing in the work you do, but you're still being soft about it, right? You're coming from a value, but still soft. All right, so someone wants to tell me this. All right, oh, it's not okay. I'm letting you know that those viewing on their phones can toggle between you and slides by swiping back and forth. Ah, thank you. I didn't know that. You see, we all learn. Somebody goes, wow, that is good. All right, Kevin says, what about prefacing a question with the story and wrapping it up with what you do? Yeah, that's fine. You know, here's my philosophy, Kevin. There is no one way to do this, right? There's a lot of ways to do this, and my philosophy is illegal, ethical, and moral, and it produces a good result for you, for others, mostly for others, and then for you, by all means, right? So what I'm trying to do is stimulate your imagination, and I'll make a deal with you guys. Look, if you guys start to think through this and you come up with, maybe I could say this at Thanksgiving, or I've got, you know, this long-lost cousin I'm going to see over the holidays, and I was thinking about saying this to him or to her, shoot it over to me. Shoot it to Bill Cates at referralcoach.com. I'll have a look at it. I'll give you feedback on it. You know, it makes me get better because I'm engaging in what I teach, and I'll help you at the same time. So, yeah, please shoot it over to me. All right, so I hope I'm getting to all the questions here. Another is to kind of confess your reluctance. Now, you have to be a little careful about this because you don't want to come across as weak or namby-pamby or apologetic, right? You don't want to be apologetic, but you do want to soften it up a little bit. So you say, George, there's something I've been wanting to mention to you, but I've been a little reluctant. I didn't want you to take it the wrong way. And tell me that won't create some curiosity, right? Or you could say, he's in a better one. You could say, you know, George, something I've been wanting to talk to you about, but I was concerned about your reaction, and I wanted to be careful. Okay, what's that about, right? So now a lot of this is relationship specific, but then you say, look, my expertise is in working with small business owners such as yourself. I suspect I might have some ideas worth sharing. Would you be open to setting up a meeting at some point, right? Again, we're setting up a meeting to brainstorm, to share some ideas. We're not setting up a meeting, can I buy you a cup of coffee and tell you about the work I do? No, you can't. I'm too busy. I don't have time, and I don't drink coffee anyway, right? We got to make it about them, value that we can bring to them, but without pressure. And that's where this word brainstorm or explore comes in. It really makes all the difference in the world when you come from that place of believing in your value. You don't want, you didn't want to make it look like you joined the club for this, and I think, and you could even make it a reciprocal two-way street. You could say, look, I know you know some things that I don't know. you got a pretty good business mind, and I know I may know some things that you're not aware of. Can we get together and talk a little business? We've never had a chance to do that. And there you go. Now all of a sudden you're having a conversation with someone. Look, if they don't want to do it, they'll decline, hopefully politely, and then you'll be done. And at least you gave it a shot and you didn't hurt the relationship. Now, another great thing you can do is invite them to an event. Hopefully you're doing client appreciation events and client events, and we've done webinars on this topic in the past, and we'll do more in the new year. I want to just touch on this quickly because this could be great for you moving into the holiday season where you have a lot of conversations with people. If you have some events coming up in the new year, you're thinking about it, this is a great time to mention that. Sometimes if you have a friend or a family member or anybody, center of influence, and the first time they kind of see you in a little bit of more of a business setting, even if it's a social event, they're seeing you with clients, right? And they're seeing the kind of relationships you have, and they're seeing the way your clients talk about you, and your friends are going, wow, they really like him, right? They really trust him. Maybe I should pay attention to what he or she's doing, right? And so that's where this event marketing thing can come into play. It's not just great for your clients bringing guests, but it's for inviting friends, family members, centers of influence, right? So there's so many things you can do on this. I'll just touch upon a couple or 9 I've got actually that I've seen a lot of people. Wine and cheese, classic. Chocolate appreciation, kind of neat. Especially good if it's before or after an educational event, so you still have some social activity there, so you can get to meet people a little bit more. Cooking classes. A lot of folks are having a lot of success with cooking classes these days. My friend Mary Beth Kosmeski with Red Zone Marketing teaches a methodology. She calls it, or a process, that don't miss the boat. And when you're going on the boat, on the lake, on the river, or whatever, and to get on the boat, they bring a referral. But you can also invite a few friends or family or colleagues. They don't have to necessarily bring a guest, right? They just get to see you in your world. Chef's table at a restaurant, not just a golf outing, but even in your backyard or at your club, hiring a pro, inviting people, having a little barbecue, etc. One advisor I know down in Houston, every year he's got a signature event. It's going to the racetrack. That's his signature event. Some people do a ball game. Aaron did a luau a couple summers ago, and so he met everybody, and he met all his new clients who are being transferred over on the shores of the Chesapeake Bay. Now, shores of the Chesapeake Bay. It should have been a crab fest. I told him I didn't quite get the luau thing, but that's all right. Hey, look, you got Valentine's Day coming up in February, right? Now is a perfect time to start thinking about that Valentine luncheon for your female clients. They could be all single. They don't have to be single. We love our clients. Could be everybody. They don't have to be just women if you don't want to. Make it a luncheon. Don't keep them from their dates on in the evening. But this could be a great way to get people, clients, prospects, friends, everybody together. All right, so. I want to tell you about Mike's situation in a second, but there's some questions. That there's been before. I thought I already deleted that one. Let's see. Sorry, Lee. Let me delete that one. See what the next one is. All right. So, if you haven't discussed business, why would you mention it? It sounds cheesy and canned. Well, ask them about their business then, right? Ask them about their business one time. If it's at a club, just sometime you're at the club. How'd you get started in your business? Wow, that's fascinating. Tell me more about that. Why'd you decide to do that, right? What's working for you? And then let it go, right? They may ask you about yours. They may not. Depends on the setting and the time and their personality. And then next time, maybe you're sitting down in a social environment. Say, how's business going? You still doing that? Yeah. Something happened to me at work today. I just got to tell you about it. It's classic, right? Or you say, we're doing pretty well too. I got to tell you, it's a great time to be in the business we're in. So there's a lot of ways to bring that up, right? A lot of ways to do that. So let's see. Yes, you will be getting a recording of this. Absolutely. Option 2, but if you haven't discussed, all right, we already talked about that. So you just make sure you do discuss business, and you can ask them that first, right? And if it's at Thanksgiving, you can ask them when they come in the door. You sit down and grab them a drink. They're not talking about business. Get up, walk around, play with the grandkids, come back, talk a little bit about your business, right? Lots of ways to make this happen. That thought of sounding cheesy, it's mostly in your head, right? If you do it right, you won't sound cheesy. Now I want to talk to you about Mike's a coach. Was a coaching client. We haven't coached in a little while, but he's a wine enthusiast, and he and his girlfriend do a lot of charity events and a lot of wine tastings and all that sort of stuff. And he wanted to know how, in this social setting, could he talk about his what he does and maybe turn into an opportunity to be in touch with those people later, right? Without coming across cheesy, pushy, whatever. So here's what I coached Mike to do, right? And so in the conversations, he's having a conversation with somebody. You know, he can tell they're doing pretty well. They park their Maserati out by the curb, and he says, I can see that you like a good wine. You should let me invite you to one of my firm's wine tasting events. Oh, we'd love that. What do you do that you put on wine tasting events? Well, I'm a financial advisor, wine enthusiast. I'm a whatever, He says, well, I'm a financial advisor and also a wine enthusiast, and what I've been able to do is help people, in their finances and help them choose the best wine for their dinner. But you can just come for the wine. It's fine, right? So you make it low key, but they go, that'd be great. Now you have a reason to stay in touch with them later. All right, perfect stranger, but you have a reason to be in touch with them about your event, and it's a perfect way to do that. And then last year, his advisory business increased by 60% just by having a tool, a way to talk about what he does in a social environment. So this is how the event marketing, particularly social event marketing. Now, you may do educational events, and that's okay, but educational events, a little tougher to get a stranger or someone to that than it would be to some sort of a social event, right? Don't forget to go to referrals without asking. I'm going to answer a couple questions here, and then I'm going to go there with you. If you want to hang out, then I'm going to show you a behind the scenes look at this new tool. But let me make sure I get the questions answered. If you are really new, how would I use this? Would like to get your opinion. Well, the thing if you're new, Kevin, is that you obviously have to get in touch with your value. And so you want to talk to the veterans, you want to talk to your managers, you want to talk to them about how they talk about their value. And sometimes you can hijack, if you will, a why from someone else. Now, you don't make it yours. You don't lie. You don't say this happened to me. But you can still tell a story or a why that happened from one of your colleagues. And so, I really love what I'm doing, what I do right now. I mean, I realize that this is a good time to be in the business that I'm in. Right now, you could be a day in the business and say that. And of course, you need to back it up, don't you? So you need to have a why. You need to have a way to talk about this. You have statistics around, what you do. And so talk about statistics that people are ill prepared for retirement, or business owners that aren't doing this or that in their business. And now you can start to talk about it. And you can say, it's a great time. In fact, one of my colleagues was with a client yesterday, and he told me, and this is a very common experience. So you can kind of borrow someone else's why on someone else's story. All right, I think we answered that for Molly as well, pretty much the same thing. I often end a conversation with, we might be a good fit to work together. Of course, I can't say for sure. Maybe I could buy you coffee and see if there would be a fit. It only takes about 20 minutes to outline my benefits. Well, I would generally caution against that, Mick, especially if it's in a social environment, unless if they really express strong interest. If they say, that's something I should be talking about, or if they say, my husband and I, or my wife and I have been meaning to talk to someone about that, then yes, then maybe you could do that. But if you're this is about kind of social events here, social settings. So unless they express very concrete interest, now I believe you're going a little too far, too fast. Now you're making it about, sitting down and just explaining your value to see if they will become a client. No, just brainstorm some ideas. Just be valuable to them. I've got a checklist that I put people through, 10 things that my clients should look at. I tell you what, let me buy you lunch, or let me buy you a cup of coffee, and we'll go through the checklist, and we'll just see where you are on this and see if you're doing it. Don't make it about them becoming a client. Look, if you do a good job, they will express interest. Well, how do I work with you? So that's the one thing you got to be careful about, right? It is now, look, if it's working for you, it's fine. I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it. But if it's not working so well, it may be you're trying to get into the sales mode too quickly. Don't be in the sales mode. Be in a brainstorming, helping people mode, and I think you'll have a better job. do a better job. Thank you, Marissa. Let's see what this, you can't miss this event. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. If you are new and low on resource funds to put on events, what are some other suggestions of social settings? Well, that's a good idea. I'll tell you what you can do. Certainly there's possibilities for sponsorship. You may find some people who are also trying to reach your client. I'll tell you one thing that I've seen many folks do is they go to friends, family, or clients, and they say, look, I want to do some social things for my clients, and I'm thinking about this. Do you know of any venues? Don't be surprised if you don't have someone say, hey, we'd be happy to host something for you. I've seen that happen a lot. And you can host something in your home, as long as it's nice enough and presentable and the dog is at the neighbors, etc., then you're probably okay. So it's not about the money. You can go to a ball game and the minor league baseball games, great, very affordable type of thing to do. And the truth is, maybe you have to grow into this a little bit. I get that. This person says, we are, let's see if I can see the name. Greg, thank you. We are CPAs and planners. What is a good transition from the tax-only client to ultimately becoming a wealth management client? Ooh, Greg, it's a good question. It's a little bit out of the scope of this, but let me give you at least a short answer, because this is true for a lot of folks, right? You show up for one thing, whatever it is you do, right? Medical insurance, Medicare Advantage, this kind of consulting, that kind of consulting, tax work, whatever it is. They see you as that, and then they start to pigeonhole you as that. And then the more they pigeonhole you as that, the tougher it is to transition, true, into other things that you do. And so what we first have to do is set the frame from the very beginning. Whenever we sit down with a brand new prospect, whatever may have brought us in to the conversation, a particular product, long-term care insurance, whatever, tax work, we have to make sure that we lay out all the different things we do for our clients. Have it in writing, have it visually, very important, have what you're doing from there for them there in that, and they see how it fits. Whatever you're doing for them that moment, tax or whatever, see how it fits into the big picture. Show them how it fits into the big picture, and that you help your clients with this big picture. You will take care of that now, and when that's taken care of, we'll revisit and we'll see, and we'll look and see what the other things are that need to be done. So part of it, Greg, has to do with setting it up from the beginning in the right way. All right, let's say you didn't set it up right. You have some clients now that you didn't set it up right. You can still have this conversation. You can still say to them, we've been working together, Greg, for 5 years, and we do, we've been doing your tax work, and I'm glad we got a happy client. It keeps coming back. That's great. And I think we've talked a little bit about the fact we do other things. What I want to do just real quick is my marketing department, maybe that's you at night, put this little chart together of how what we do fits in a broader context. And I thought it'd be enlightening for you to see the work that we're doing and how it fits into a larger context. And then you start to talk about those other things, and they go, oh, you could help me with that, or, I've been trying to do that myself, but I'm not sure I should be doing that. And now you've brought the bigger context, and now you can transition to that. Now, look, they may have someone to help them in a certain area that you could help them, but they're set with that person at least for now. At least now they know you do it. Sometimes it's a timing issue, right? So the key is to always talk about what you do, if it's limited, in the broader context of all the different ways you help your clients. And it could even go beyond that, because you may have colleagues and resources that can help them in other areas, and you want to refer your clients to those people, in which case talk about those things as well, because you have resources and trusted partners in that other area. So at my boot camp, Deborah was checking out my boot camp. Thank you, Deborah. Do you have us work on specific scenarios and work on how we present ourselves and what we say? Absolutely. That's what we do at the boot camp. These days we call it the Referral Champions Training Camp, and you can go have a look if you want. Just go to our website, or Referral Champions Training Camp. And the next one's in March 23rd, 24th, I believe, day and a half. Thanks for asking. It's a full day on the Thursday and a half a day on a Friday. And yeah, a lot of practice, a lot of scenario building. I used to call it role play, but everybody hates role play, so you just got to change the name. But yes, and that's the beauty of the boot camp, the training camp, is that you collect with other people who who have different perspectives, have taught different things, and then together we really create some great stuff. So, you know, I share some ideas, and then some guy who's been in business for 20 years shares what he does in this area, which is fantastic, and then all we learn from each other. So, yeah, a lot of scenario building there. That's the whole value of coming together, right, to do that sort of thing that you can only do in a boot camp setting. After you tell them what you do, how do you get them to meet with you and not get a deer in the headlights look? Well, it's kind of back to that brainstorming idea, but you got to ask them a few questions first. You can't just tell them what you do and then say, you know, let's get together. That's usually too much too fast, especially in a social setting. A couple different ways you can do this. You could say, you know, so that's a little bit about what I do. You always want to make sure you put the why in there. If you tell them what you do, make sure the why goes in there before you open it up anymore, because that's such a compelling thing that you usually want to put that in there as quickly as possible. And so then ask them a couple questions. So, you know, I'm sure you're working with a financial advisor. I'm sure you're probably working with a business consultant. You're probably working with a business coach. You're probably, right? You're someone who's, you know, pretty, well, I am, I used to, I'm not. Oh, okay. So, and just ask some questions related to what, you know, one of the things I'm doing a little role play here. You know, one of the things, Cisco, is I'll say, you know, one of the things I ask my clients this is that quite often they're getting enough referrals, but they're not always getting the right kind of referrals. I'm just curious if that might be true for you. And so that's what you can do to kind of reverse it back to that person you're talking. You're still talking about the work you do, but you're bringing some value. And quite often my clients say, well, you know, actually that is the challenge. I get a fair number of referrals. I'm just not getting the right quality. I was coaching a guy at one point. He came to me. He was actually getting 30 referrals a month. You know, most people would be astounded to have that. He wanted more referrals. And I said, well, let's talk about that. Truth is, he didn't want more referrals. He wanted better referrals. He wanted bigger case size. And so we actually reduced the number of referrals, but increased the case size, and then increased his income and all that good stuff. So, you know, reverse it, ask some questions, get into a conversation. It was a pun about the wine event. Oh, you decant the wine event. Oh, thank you, Kevin. I decanter, I get it. Thank you. Man, that was 2/3 of a pun. PU. Excited about your new program. Thanks for continuing to provide great value. Doug, hey, Doug, how you doing, bud? And you're still out there in Southern California. Good to hear from you, bud. I just got to make sure I do this without deleting the questions. We still got a lot of folks hanging out. Thanks. I hope you find the answers to these questions helpful. Okay, definitely need this info. Our members definitely need this info. Well, wonderful. Let's see who said that. Oh, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Good to hear from you. We got a Terp. Mick says, awesome. Is that a Terp football on my shelf behind me? Yes, it is a Terp football signed by Ralph Friedgen, who kind of got a raw deal, although we're pretty excited about the coach, Durkin, we have now. Although Michigan's up Saturday. Yeah. We caught them last year, the year before on a down year, and we beat them, but unlikely to happen this year. Is your new program available on your virtual training site? If so, any details, any deals for the first year? The new program, Greg, is not on our Referral Coach Academy yet. We will be putting the audio on there for sure, and possibly the video for managers for sure. You know, if you get it now and you want to be part of the Referral Coach Academy, shoot me an email. Or if you are in the Referral Coach Academy, shoot me an email. You know, we'll make it work for you. All right, 2/3 of a pun. PU, well played. All right, what's my email again? BillCates@referralcoach.com. Not Bill Gates, right? Bill Cates. All right, let's go. Thanks always, Bill. Yep. Regards from Sunny. Oh, Scott Miller. How you doing? Scott is the king of wow, my friend. Scott knows how to become referable by creating wow. So, look, guys, this is the formal part. We have ended the formal part. I do want to make sure that you understand the fact that ideas are worthless, that this webinar is worthless if you don't actually act on the ideas. Shoot me an email. I want to say thank you to our folks at Insurance WebX for sponsoring this and putting the word out. They'll be posting this up on their website, and for everybody who registered, you'll be getting the recording as well. For those of you who want to just take when is the $97 offer? Until next week. We haven't quite figured that out. Sorry. Is it being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. Thanks, guys. So I want to open the window a little bit and show you a little bit of the new product. If you have a minute, it won't take long. But when you sign in, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you get a little nice little welcome message from me, and then I tell you to click up here. It's a pretty simple thing. And oh, I hit the wrong button. Let me go back. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right, there. Now we're live. And you're going to see that it's a fairly simple thing, and we want it to be simple. We don't want it to be this daunting thing you have to do. We want you to be able to get this value pretty quickly for a fair price, and then and you'll be subscribed, you know, for a long time. So you'll have it for a long time. So you know, the first module is a prospect experience, and you can see you get the video, and then you can download the audio, or you can listen to the audio. Let me click on this itself. There we go. So you can see you can watch the video. You can listen to the audio right there. You know, if you want to multitask, or you could watch the video and listen at the same time, and then you get the downloads. And that's it. It's really pretty simple, and you get all three modules all at once. You can watch the videos a couple times. Watch them if you're a manager, you can share it with other people. You can discuss. You have a mini training session. If you have your associates with you, they can go through this a little bit. You have a mini training session. Next week, you do the next module. You create your planning, what you're going to do with this, and you have become super referable. You're getting referrals without even asking for them, and it's really simple as that. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding to this down the road. I'm going to see if I can show you what my library looks like. There we go. So my library, you'll see that we have it populated right now. My library has the two courses. This is actually a course we're working on now based on my book. It's going to be audio, video. No, that's not my car. I'm just having fun for now. We'll have a real photo there. But this is what will show up. And then as you do more work with us, if you're involved in our Referral Coach Academy, that will start to show up here. This is where you'll go to get it. Rapid fire referrals will be housed here and everything. So so is access a limited time? You know, Cisco, it's going to be at least a year. We actually haven't talked about that, but it's going to be at least a year. So you'll have plenty and plenty and plenty of time. And of course, you download the audios, so you'll have those forever. If you can download, and as well as a transcript. So that's a good question. Though we probably should be taking care of that, shouldn't we? All right, guys. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you go to you know, referralswithoutasking.com. Check it out. If you have any questions about the platform itself, call my office. Send me an email. Bill Cates at referralcoach.com. Bill Cates at referralcoach.com. And our phone number, should have it written here. It's 301-497-2200. 301-497-2200. And look, have a great holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate. I hope they're safe. I hope they're fun, filled with love. We will be coming in the new year with more webinars, complimentary webinars as well, with high value. I hope you got a lot of value, whether you move forward with our Referrals Without Asking program or not. I hope you found your time with us well spent. That's our job, is to lead with value first, and then to let you know what other opportunities that we have for you. So this is Bill Cates. I'm going to leave you with a question. Who are you going to be introduced to today? Thanks for being with us.